Hello, hello. Welcome to the Five Talents Podcast. I'm your host, Abel Pacheco. I interview the top commercial real estate investors and industry experts so you can learn from their experiences. So if you're an investor, a high W-2 earner, or real estate or tech sales professional that wants to invest in real estate without having to manage properties or leave your day job, then this podcast is for you. Or if you're already investing in real estate, but you're doing it part-time and you want to become a full-time multifamily or full-time commercial real estate investor, this podcast is for you too. You're going to learn a ton. You will learn from real-life multifamily investors and other professionals in the industry. They're going to share their blueprints for success, and I'm super excited that you're here. So I hope you enjoy the show. All right. Hello, hello. This is Abel Pacheco, your host for the Five Talents Podcast. We are super excited today, this morning, because we have an amazing guest, Miss Kristen Tejada. How's it going, Kristen?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm doing excellent. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity to interview you. This is going to be a really cool show. So if you haven't heard of Kristen before, she is just one of those individuals and people that you want to meet, you want to get around, you want to try to learn from. And this one's a little different. It's not because she has general partner ownership or principal ownership in thousands of doors, but in the opposite side of the house, she is an emerging financial freedom, financial journey to make sure she can, go crush it in life and create additional income streams outside of being an amazing technical product manager. She really is in the early stages of working on that, financial freedom path and on her independence journey. So I'm excited for her. And she reached out to us. We had a good conversation, and I just loved her story. And then the questions that you were asking me, Kristen, where I was like, man, let's have you back on the podcast and let's see if you can just, recreate some of that conversation, because I think a lot of people can benefit from the questions you were asking and just trying to share some knowledge. So, Kristen, thank you very much for joining. Let me turn it over to you for, like, in your words, tell us who you are and what you're doing and in the real estate world and also your professional world.
Yeah, thanks so much. I think one thing that I was really excited about is I try to listen to a couple of, podcast, YouTube episodes a week, somewhere around financial independence, the real estate realm. And I reach out to people just to see if they respond. And Abel, you were one of those people who was like, yeah, I'd love to chat. Let's jump on a call. So really appreciate that. It makes a big difference, especially for us early investors, I'll say, who are just kind of trying to get our feet underneath us. And so I professionally, I started working as an intern at a really big consumer packaged goods company straight out of college, and I stayed with them for 8 years. I did a variety of tech roles, project management, program management, product management, a lot in the e-commerce space specifically. And it was all great. They moved me to Seattle. Love Seattle.
Time. Nice.
Yeah, it's great. And so they did that. And I think I reached a bit of a point though last year where I was just like, am I really happy? Is this really where I want to be at? And some things had shifted recently, and obviously a lot happened with the world as well. And I think that just kind of puts things in perspective. So anyways, had a bit of a change of mindset and heart there. I got introduced at the same time to a woman, a really amazing woman named Elisa Zhang. She is a past tech person turned full-time real estate investor syndicator. She started a group for financial independence and helping people to learn what that is and get there through real estate investing. And I was fortunate enough to join her beta group for Easy FI University. And we just got really close, and she basically became a mentor to me and really helped me on the mindset piece of like, what is it that you want out of life? What do you envision your life to look like? And I think I followed that traditional career path of you go to college, you get a degree, you get a good job, you buy a house. I bought myself a house. And then I was like, now what? And I realized, are these the things that are actually going to make me happy in life? And the answer was no. And so I ended up figuring out what I wanted, created a vision board. It had nothing to do with anything that I was doing at the time. And I sold my house. I got a new job. And I took that money from the house and I started investing passively in multifamily real estate deals, mainly with my mentor, because I trusted her and she educated me on it. And that's kind of where I'm at. I'm in 5 deals right now. And I'm just trying to continue building up that passive income so that I can reach my financial independence goals.
All right. All right. I'm excited. Let's go, Kristen. You're on it. I'm excited for you. You're gonna get there and you're already, well down the path. I think what most people don't do is take action. They have a glimpse of what they want to go after and they won't take that next step. And what's that next step? You defined a number of them. I'm trying to take notes as quickly as I can and still listen to everything you're saying. So, the action point was you saw someone or met someone, whether it was me or someone else, and like you said, you reach out to them. Regardless of whether they respond, you're the one that's taking the action to go ping them and say, "Hey, I'd like what you're saying. I'd like some more information." Action. You met a mentor and someone that provided you the education. And I heard beta, like a beta easy FI university. So when I heard beta, I'm like, oh yeah, beta, this is the first time. Well, you're like, yeah, I'm moving forward. Boom. And because of that, there's education, mentorship, and probably you got closer to the lead, lead educator, right? So you mentioned her. And the job that you were offered, it sounds like you moved from somewhere to Seattle. Where did you move from?
I was in New Jersey before that for 5 years.
Yeah. Let me move across the country and take a job. Let's take action. And the action that you took kind of positioned you for a lot of success, and it will continue to position you for a lot of success as long as you just keep doing that. That's awesome. I'm excited for you. So, and now you're invested in 5 multifamily deals.
Yep.
All right. Well, tell us a little bit about your first, passive investment. Maybe for those that are listening that have never invested passively, like, was it a $50,000 minimum, that type of thing? Was it, were you worried, afraid? I'm like, oh man, that's a lot of money. Tell us your mindset here.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I am a straight shooter, so I'll be super honest about the experience.
Sure.
One, I think I was very fortunate to have been able to take the time before I passively invested. I joined that group. I spent 6 months on, really like 4 months on the mindset piece of it before I jumped into here's my money, right? And I really focused on what am I trying to do here? What am I trying to build? What am I investing for? And I think that is what helped spurred what you're talking about, actually taking the action. Because when you know what you're working for, it changes things, right? It makes you go, I have to do this, not, I don't know, maybe I'll sit on the sidelines a bit more and wait. You're like, this is what I could have out of life. I got to go. I got to do it. And I also obviously in that time built up a very strong relationship with this syndicator. And so there was a lot of trust. There was a lot of education. I learned all the terminology. I listened to sample deals and overviews of, what does it mean when they're talking about cap rate and this and that, and how they're going to operate this deal and how they're going to make a profit, and my IRR versus my annual return, all this stuff that you're like, I have no idea what you guys are talking about. So I think a big piece is like getting educated first, so that you can make solid judgments on, is this a deal that I want to invest in or not? But I think the other big thing is building trust with the person that you're going to be investing with. And you vet them just like you'd vet anybody else, that if you were going to hire someone for a job, right? You'd look at their resume, you'd look at their past performance, you'd talk to other people who have invested with them or who have worked with them. So those are all things that I did. And even doing all of that, I was really scared pushing that send wire button on the first one.
Yeah.
It was like, wow, outside. I mean, I bought a house before that. So that was the most money at that point I had ever sent someone. But this was the second most. And you're not, getting a key to a place in return.
You're not at the title company that says, here's why everything's legitimate. It's okay. Your money's going in the right spot. You're like, is this the right wire number? Please don't let me miss a digit here.
Yeah, exactly. You're going over it 5 times. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I invested a pretty small amount in my first deal, again, because I was just like, hey, first deal, sure. I don't want to go crazy. I'm not going to dump everything.
How many doors was it?
The total deal was over 100 doors.
Holy moly. So your first investment, you go from technical product manager, working in professional world, go from one house and your first, quote unquote, commercial real estate investment. You were invested into 100 doors, just like that, 4 or 6 months later.
Yeah. I mean, not all 100 are mine, but I'm in there.
Sure. Yeah. Well, not all 800 doors are not mine either. We have a piece of it. But the mindset was like, man, that was your first deal. It was 100 units. This is a big deal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think, again, I got very fortunate to be connected with someone who, this was not her first deal, right? This is like her, I don't know. I don't want to speak for her, but probably like 50th. So at this point, it's turnkey. It's just like, yep, these are the types of deals we go after. And it was in the Phoenix market. So really good market, really good growth market. A bit of a value add, but also I really aligned with the business plan. It wasn't just about like rehabbing a bunch of units and then jacking up rents, and that was the plan. There was a lot more to it. So anyways, that I was very nervous. I went for, so they were offering so typically for passive investing, it's like, here's my money. I'm going to own like a chunk of this apartment building, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And in return, I get some kind of return. And there's usually either an equity play. So either I make money usually more at the end, right? And make a little bit of cash flow, or I can take a bigger chunk of cash flow, but I don't get any equity upside at the end. So basically I don't make any money off of whatever we make when we sell or refi or whatever. So I went with, I took the larger fixed rate. So it was Class A for that.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yep. And just because I was like, oh man, and usually you hold them, I'm saying it more for the audience, but like usually you hold these, they tell you you're going to be in this deal for like 5 years, which can sound like, oh my gosh, that's a really long time.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I want more money now versus waiting. In hindsight, I because of where I'm at with my journey, I would have taken the equity, but that's okay. You live and learn.
First deal. Yeah.
First deal. And with Class A, it's typically, it's a more conservative approach because you're the first investor to get paid out. Actually, I already got 40% of my investment back in a year.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
That was nice. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that the reason I did it that way was because I was like, okay, this feels like the least risky of the options to do for my first deal. And then everything after that, I've been doing equity because I'm like, yeah, I want to double my money in 5 years, because I need to build up my wealth so that I can invest more. Because right now, just doing a full-time job isn't going to cut it.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Yeah, we all have to trade time for money. We all have to work somehow, unless you are already there. But if everyone else in the world that is trying to get there, we've got to trade time for money. You got to make it. But the crucial part, or what most people that have never invested or really think about investing or trying to figure out how to make that thing grow, your money is, like, if you don't invest it, you are going to have to work for the rest of your life, because your money won't just naturally grow. You've got to put it somewhere. And, we have a little bit of some government things at the end, but unless you want to drastically change your lifestyle, especially if you're making good money during your days, you want to figure out how to create that same income without having to work. And so that leads to, you have to invest money, and it's got to grow. You already worked hard for your money. Now you have to make your money work hard for you. Otherwise, you are going to continue to work hard for somebody else's business. And that's just the way it goes. Right. So I'm not advocating quitting your job tomorrow or this year or anything like that to anybody listening. What I'm advocating is, over your professional career, over the next 5 or 10 or 15 years, or however long you're getting after it, take every single dollar you can budget outside of your living expenses and go and invest it. Because if not, we're just going to keep working and keep working and keep working. Right.
100%. And I think, unfortunately, what's crazy is that I never thought about not working until I was, 60 whatever years old before last year. I literally never thought about it.
Yeah.
I was just like, this is what it's going to be, because that's what we get taught.
Is your parents, are they still working and grinding, or?
Yep. My dad is getting close to retirement. My mom was a full-time stay-at-home mom. She works part-time now though, and she's planning on doing that until whenever as well.
Yep.
So
man. And that's kind of how, what we see a lot of. If you've never seen anything different, that is the norm, and we tend to adopt the norm. One of the other things you mentioned earlier was, like, you subscribe to, I'm going to go to school, get a good job, buy a house, and then you're settle in. And to settle in is for the next 40, 50 years. Like, oh man. So yeah, that's a change.
Hello. You're listening to the 5 Talents Podcast. I'm your host, Abel Pacheco. If you're enjoying this podcast, then I know you're serious about achieving financial freedom. Are you ready to create your own path through multifamily investing for yourself and your family? Then I know you're going to appreciate our Investor's Guide to Multifamily Investing. It's titled Tackling Commercial Real Estate the Easy Way. We use this guide to invest ourselves in $93 million worth of real estate. So we're going to show you the basic mechanics of multifamily syndications and how to evaluate your next passive investment opportunity. So the best part, if you subscribe to our podcast now, leave us a review and a rating. I'm going to give you a free copy of our ebook. So please take a moment to do that now. Once you've done that, go to 5tcre.com/ebook, 5tcre.com/ebook. Make sure to let us know you left a review, and we're going to send you a free copy. So thank you so much for subscribing to the 5 Talents Podcast. We really appreciate it.
Anyways, this is awesome. So you did 1 deal, 2 deal, 3 deal, 4 deal, 5 deals. Roughly speaking, overall, how many doors is that now that you're invested in passively?
So I added it up because I realized I hadn't before, and it's
Yeah.
almost 1,000.
Holy
Um,
moly,
uh,
1,000
to,
doors.
to
Okay.
be fair, what I did though was, and I'm not, again, this is all my personal choice and experience. I'm not advocating for anyone to do exactly what I do. I think it's a very personal journey and choice. Because I changed jobs in the beginning of this year, I had an opportunity
Oh, your
to learn
401k
about,
money out.
yeah, to learn about self-directed IRAs. And so I
Nice.
rolled that baby over into a self-directed IRA, and I decided to invest I took my money out of the stock market and I invested it in real estate because I was like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, look at these returns. Like if you compare the return, I mean, and also I'm like, I can go touch the thing that I've invested in. If I want to, I can go fly to Phoenix. I can go up to that apartment building, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I own a part of that. It's a real asset.
Mhm.
Obviously you can tell I'm no longer a super fan of this. I believe in diversifying your portfolio, but for now, for
Yeah.
me, I'm like, I was fully invested in stocks only and I had nothing else. And now, right now, I've kind of swung the other way. And then once I build up some wealth, I'll start diversifying again into some other asset classes. But it was just the returns to me. I was like, why would I not do this?
Yeah. Yeah. I did the same thing. I don't know if we talked about that on their first call or not, but that's exactly what I felt. I was like, oh, you moved from one job to the other. You had all your 401k, you moved it. Me and my wife did the exact same thing. It became free because of work. I moved jobs and are like, oh, right. I can redirect this. I'm going to redirect it into real estate. And that's what we ended up doing. So I
Awesome.
love it. I love it. 1,000 multifamily doors. Do you know how many hundreds or do you know how many millions of dollars that is? Is it like 100 million or something close? Have you
I
added
don't,
that?
I actually don't know. I did not add that up.
Add it up. It's pretty freaking cool. At $100,000 a door, average, you're probably in around $100 million of commercial real estate. If the average is 70K a door, you're in like 70 million. Either way, it's a big fatty number. So 1,000 doors is a multifamily investor. Kristen said earlier, I don't know, and all of it. Well, shoot, neither do the majority of anybody in syndication, whether limited or passive partners. But the point is, our money is in 70 or $100 million worth of real estate in 1,000 doors, and there is massive diversification as well as massive momentum occurring right now in our real estate lane, and that money is just going to keep growing. And it earns. We've basically employed our money in a great job that has a good benefits and good tax benefits, and now it goes to work every single day for the rest of its life. Is what we want to do. Is like we're employing our dollars, and we want it to have the best job possible. So, do I want it to earn $10 an hour, or do I want it to earn $100 an hour? And now I'm like, man, send that money away. So good job. Congratulations. I'm excited for you. So uh, also, Kristen, I wanted to give you some time, right? When we originally spoke, you were asking me these amazing questions, and I was like, I need to record some of this stuff because I felt like, when you were talking through this, other people have the same questions. So I wanted to turn it over to Kristen a little bit because, anybody else that has similar questions, I'm happy to answer. And just thought I would record it, and we'll get a little scale out of this too. So you had some questions prepared. I'm happy to help you. Happy to.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So I think when you are first starting out on this journey and venture into real estate, there's a lot of unknowns. And I have been talking to a lot of friends about just the journey that I've been on in the last year. And I think the biggest question I get from them, and also I had kind of myself, was the relationship piece and the trust are super important when you're about to give over like a large chunk of your money to somebody
Yeah.
to invest for you, right? So you can either go active and you can do it yourself, or you can give it to someone else and trust that they're going to do the right thing with it. But how how do you propose that people build these like genuine relationships and connections with syndicators, especially when you're more on this unaccredited side, under $1 million net worth, you're kind of trying to get started and you're like, hey, I don't have millions of dollars to give you and invest in your deals, but I want to start. And how do you kind of build those relationships with people?
Yeah. It's what a great question, because there are multitudes of people that are watching, listening, whatever, in different financial positions, different age groups, different goals, objectives, different end run. Your vision board looks very different than my vision board, which is probably looks very different than, my mom's vision board, right? So depending on who you are, you're going to seek out a syndicator and an operator and someone that you trust to invest your money with differently than I would, than she would, than you would. And the operator on the other side is also going to be driving for their visions, desires, goals, and wants. They have their vision board, right? So what you're ultimately doing is you're just trying to get a good match, right? It's like you may refer me to some of your friends and say, "Oh, I like this guy. He's the man. I trust him. He's a Texas. If you want to go with him, go do that." Right? Cool. But somebody else in your portfolio, in your friendship, your network, sorry, may say, "You know what? I don't really like Abel. I like somebody that's really buttoned up, professional, articulate." I don't know if I'm any of those things, but anyways, that person or syndicator or operator is somebody else, and you got to have a good relationship with them first. So the how is super easy. I think people overcomplicate it. It's do what you did. You're like, let me reach out to them. Let me send them, I don't know if it was LinkedIn or a phone call or however we got connected, which I'm available on our website. You can contact us on our Calendly, on our LinkedIn, and we'll set up some time. If you want to talk to somebody and develop a relationship and you can't because that team is too big, or the syndicator or operator just has so much going on that they don't have time to talk to 1,000 people, it's just impossible. There's only one man, and one man can only scale, or one woman can only scale so much. So they start to build a team under them and have many multiple facets of their organization: marketing, operations, property management, accounting, accounts. It's just like any other business. As you start to grow, it's impossible for one individual to have that many relationships with those investors. So they start creating investor relations and other people down in the business. So when that happens, if you're the individual that takes a lot of puts a lot of extra faith or trust or whatever into a one-on-one conversation, then that big team's just probably not for you, because they're not going to fulfill what you want anyways. Can they deliver a return? Probably can. They've probably proven it because they've got a huge track record or experience or whatever. But if that's not what you're looking for, if you're looking through education, mentorship, coaching, friendship, all the way along the ride, because it's a 5 or 7 year ride, if that matters more, then you're going to find somebody that can deliver on the results, deliver on the financial piece, deliver on that, and then you trust them because you can have a conversation. And some other people are like, I don't care about this conversation. I don't care about you personally, your desires, your goals. I want to see a 50 deal or 5,000 deal track record. And that's where I'm going to put my money. And I don't care who I'm talking to. Here's the money, and I'm going to wire it. So that's a thing. But I think it's just reaching out, whether it's to their organization or to the individual. You got to take action. Kristen, you took action, and then you're like, okay, I feel comfortable, and that's what you needed. And every investor is going to need something. The operators are going to need something different too. If I have a 506c deal, then unfortunately, a 506c allows me to advertise. Like, I have a fund that I'll talk about now. Well, what you kind of mentioned, there's a Class A share. It's a 12% preferred return. It's fixed return. So there's no upside. And then there's a Class B, there's some equity upside, right? If you take off the pref. So the reason I can talk about this fund 2 that we're doing, is it is a 506c for accredited investors only. That means I can advertise and I can talk about it openly. So if anybody's interested and you're accredited, let me know. I'm happy to have that conversation. But a non-accredited investor can invest in that deal, can invest in that offering. So you end up saying, okay, as an operator, I need to meet an accredited investor into my business. Now, I'm at that position, on my side where we're in 800 doors. I'm in South Texas, Texas Central, a few different areas. We've got new development going on, 156 doors in other markets. Anyways, as we're growing, I'm kind of like in between. We have like 3 employees. I don't have 30. So we're small enough where I can have some conversations. And we're also small enough where I started as a non-accredited investor. My first investments, 400 doors for me, 280 for my wife. Those were investments with 506B. I could only get in as a non-accredited investor. So I also want to do deals that are for 506B investors, non-accredited. You're not a millionaire. You don't make 200K a year. You don't do that. And I have those offers throughout the year as well. So I'm looking for somebody specific, maybe on a certain window, on a certain deal. And then I'm looking for everyone else in between. I want to know desires, goals, and wants. And I don't want to be treated, poorly as well. I don't want to be treated like I don't know. I want to have a good relationship with the people that I invest with, because I'm motivated personally. I'm motivated by helping others win. And that's what fires me up. If you knew me in the tech world, I had a 60-person sales team and we had a lot of success. I liked hearing my sales people, their wins and their goals and what they were working for. A new watch, some of them single guys that just wanted this awesome watch, or maybe families that were trying to have their first house or children or whatever, or this vacation. I'm like, man, let me help you hit that goal. I was motivated by it and we won because of their drive to success. So anyways, those things are kind of put together. So hopefully that helps a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's encouraging to hear, of course, at some point, a lot of syndicators, I think, move into that space where they're like, yeah, I want to be able to talk about my deals. So I'm going to offer these 506c ones. But I think finding someone who still remembers what it was like before you reach that point in your life, right? And is motivated to help people out who are not in that place yet, is something that I look for. And I think there's a lot of other people who are looking for that as well. So
cool.
I think it's awesome to hear. And I think, it's obviously one of the reasons that I felt very inclined to reach out to you in the first place, right? Because I had that connection of like, man, this guy has been where I am now and still remembers and still cares. And to me, that's more important than someone who's done 1,000 deals and has, great returns and all of that, but can't take the time to, talk to me for 5 minutes. Figure out who I am. So
good. Yeah, thank you. That's good.
So kind of following off of that, when you are speaking to potential investors, what is it? I know that's probably more a personal question. What is it that you are kind of looking for in that conversation to say like, yeah, I'll add you to my, to my newsletter, to my deal flow, all of that. I'll take you on.
There's very pointed questions that I ask that I don't have to ask on the phone, because I ask them on our Calendly or our initial questionnaire. Are you accredited or non-accredited? Okay, or not sure. I know I can provide some education on that. So there's another one that's, are you investing this year? How much are you investing? A $50,000 minimum? Because our deals are a $50,000 minimum. So I end up being 50 to 100, 150 or 250 or more. What are you, $250,000 or more this year are you investing? Or I'm not investing at all in 2021. Okay, great. I have an idea already that I don't have to dig into conversations up front, as long as people are answering honestly. So that part is one of them. It's, just tactically speaking, do you just want education today? and you don't have any money to invest, or most people are saying, yeah, I want to invest X amount, and I want to invest this year. And I also asked a little bit about their goals. Hey, what are your goals in here? What asset classes? Are you in multifamily today? Are you in self-storage or mobile home? I think I have like commercial in general. Are you in the stock market, and are you in startup or VC ventures, that kind of thing? Because I want to gauge where people are at. So that's just information that's helpful for me to, realize, oh yeah, this person is an investor. They're already moving. They're already doing these, different items, and they want to invest this year. I have opportunities, God willing, anywhere from 4 to 5 a year is what we want to provide. So as long as those keep coming, I know, okay, great. I can slot this person in and many multiple deals. So tactically speaking, we're an investment firm. We need to help people invest. I need to know who's going to invest. And outside of that, what is some of the same things I mentioned, right? Dreams, desires, goals. I've had to fire a few people before from just working with us, and I did it in our professional world in IT, and I learned it there where there was a client, and that client, was a big company. They spent hundreds and thousands of dollars with us. I don't know, maybe millions. I don't remember, but I watched the operations or VP of support. I think it was a pretty high level person that's realized, hey, this client is abusing essentially one of our customer service reps. They were cussing to them. They were telling them they were being rude. They were like, I guess beyond being rude, beyond being upset, they were verbally attacking them. And I saw that VP of support. I was like, man, dude, that's a hard situation. I don't want to deal with that, because we signed them up, and they send them over, and somebody else deals with them. And they were like, you know what? Sorry, Mr. Customer. We've asked you nicely not to cuss at our customer service person. They're trying to help you, but you don't want to continue, and you want to continue hitting this. We're going to tell your company, essentially, we're not going to work with your firm anymore if you're working here. And if you are the guy, then, and I think he was a high level person. They're like, okay, yeah, we've decided we're just going to go ahead and fire you as a customer. And I was like, oh, okay, I get it. Because I value, or they valued and I valued our employees as much as they did their best customers. Because if you treat your employees very, very well, treat them the way you want your employees to treat your best clients, is kind of what I kind of thought about, and I've learned, and I've, applied that. So today, hey, I'm the one working today. I'm still grinding. I don't want anybody treating me rough. I'm like, well, I better value me first as much as anybody else. So like, we had to fire some people. She said, no, I thank you very much for talking to us. I don't think I'm the right team for you. And it's like, oh yeah, I agree. Like, okay, good.
Oh, interesting.
Because I don't want to have to work with you, and vice versa. Right. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. It's just, do we jive. I want to hang out. I want to talk, have fun. And everyone's different personalities. Like, we don't need to hang out for beers, but I definitely, which I don't drink anyways. But at the same time, I'd love to like know that I'm helping somebody and they have great intentions with what they want to do. And I'm excited. Just about 99% of the people that I talk to, everyone wants to win, and I want to help them win. So
that's awesome. That's really encouraging to hear. And I think kind of going off of that, for someone who maybe answers your questionnaire, like, hey, I'm not sure if I want to invest. I know I'm unaccredited, because you can really easily Google that, when you're filling out your questionnaire. It's a pretty quick yes or no.
There's a few I'm not sure. So
I'm sure there are. But let's just say, yeah, maybe I have, I don't know, 50,000, but I'm not sure if I want to invest this year. And you find out kind of through there that they're really looking for more education. How do you personally handle that kind of investor?
I'll still have a call with them. This is my normal MO, is if I help enough people succeed and get what they want, I'm going to get exactly what I want also. And this was a Zig Ziglar mentality or mindset that my dad instilled in me when I was younger, and it's always carried with me. And then as you find it, you can find supportive scripture in the Bible too. If you help others, you will also be blessed. And so I'm a steward of people's money. I'm a steward of people's capital. I guess legally we're not fiduciaries, but I pretty much act as like, hey, this is somebody else's money. I better act in their best interest, morally, ethically, that kind of thing. And business wise, I want them to make the best decision because when they win, I want 50K to turn into 100K, to 100K to turn into 200K, and 200 to turn in four to eight. And I want it to come back to our investment. So
Of course.
I was like, man, I get this cycle. If I help you make more money, then I'm also going to have you as a bigger investor. Very simple and easy mathematics for me. So it really starts, in my opinion, with education and knowledge because, that person may not be investing today or even have 50K to invest today, but I'm not going to be doing this for 6 months or a year. I'm going to be doing this for, probably as long as I'm old and gray and I have fun putting deals together. I may not be doing all the work. I want somebody else doing the work, but I would like to be involved and get my percentage and do my, give my expertise at a later year and earn that way. So I want all those people that I've helped to kind of remember and say, oh, I finally have, which happens. Hey, we had XYZ exit, we had XYZ sell, we had this house move, and now I've got this, and I didn't have money to invest, and now this year I do. Hey, how do I do this? Right?
Yep.
What's the next step? So that's kind of the mindset. And then I heard it reinforced with a couple of a large investor that has $1 billion portfolio. And he said, I'll make 15 minutes just for about everyone. He goes, I remember what it was like. And he goes, I'll give everyone just about 15 minutes without a doubt. I don't care who you are or what, they can get on my calendar. And I was like, man, that's awesome. So I'd love to be able to be in the same position. Like, yeah, we have $1 billion portfolio. Man, I'll set my calendar. You might have to set it a month in advance, which sometimes happens. But it's like, hey, it's there. It's on my calendar. You can book it and we'll talk then.
Yeah. And that 15 minutes, I mean, that can completely change the trajectory of someone's life. Honestly, when you're talking to someone at that level, sometimes that's just the little boost that a person who is unsure needs a bit of a push in the right direction. Like that's all, that conversation is all that they need.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's good. It's great to hear. I'm the same. Like, oh man, that's what I wanted to hear. Let's move.
Yeah, I love that. To me, I mean, I'm going to speak for you, is like everything you just said is to me the sign of a syndicator that you want to be working with, especially when you're early on. If they're not willing to put in some time to help educate you and they're not thinking, again, more about the long term, it's not about what you have right now. It's about your potential and where you could go if you start today, right? If you never get started, well, you're never going to have anything to invest. So you want someone who's going to help give you that opportunity early on and then look at you as like, hey, I'm trying to build a long-term thing with you. I'm not trying to, to do a short-term, like, yeah, I could probably find someone who's willing to give me 200K. But then if they go walk away to someone else, I mean, is that really long-term helpful? And you want someone who you can also build that relationship long term with. So
yeah, absolutely. Thank you for saying.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we have a few more minutes. I'm happy to take another question here too, Kristen.
All right, I'm gonna give you one, maybe two more. Let's see about this answer.
We can get it on.
So let's say you're kind of getting on this path of like, all right, I've been a passive investor for a little while. I think I have found it's a little bit more rare to start on the passive side versus the active side. What I hear a lot of other people doing is like, oh, I started by buying a duplex or, fourplex or something. And then I was like, then I found out about this passive investing thing and I was like, oh, well, free up time and let someone else do the hard work. But let's just say you go the other route and you start as a passive investor and you hear a lot about being more active, but you're like, man, I don't know if that is the right path for me or like how to even get into that. Because I know for me personally, I am not I'm not super excited by like going out, trying to find a fourplex or something, purchasing it, operating it. I'm like, I
Yeah.
had a full-time job. I'm trying to start 2 side hustles that don't involve that at all. And it
Yeah.
just, I'm not super excited by that. But I know there's a lot more other ways you can get active in real estate. So what is your advice, or what are some of those other ways if there's people who are like, yeah, I don't know that I want to exactly become a landlord, but maybe I want to accelerate some of my money making power.
Yeah. 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 Something I love about working in the professional career that I didn't take enough advantage of when I was there is networking. So there are many multiple facets to like multifamily syndication investing. The active individuals go grind and find deals, and that's like this is the 80/20. Find deals that work and find more investors that are willing to come with you and go support this deal. You have to find a new opportunity and you have to find a new investor. And that's like the 80/20 rule. 80% of all the goodness will come from those 20% of activities that you're doing, and that's it. It's find another deal and find more investors to come along for the ride, and we'll all work together, right? So part of that is like you have these really great operationally focused real estate folks that are good at due diligence. They're good at project management schedules. They're good at working with general contractors and property managers, and really managing the day to day. The property manager does the boots on the ground day to day. They have the leases and work with the tenants and that. But then there's an asset manager that does the, all the figures on paper. Are we on track? Are we on time and on budget? And how's the project management coming along? And where's the schedule? And, just tracking this on a weekly basis to make sure that there's success. And there's a lot of those kind of parts. A big part of this for people that are in a full-time job today to become active, to go really be a principal, to get a piece of it, is to work on the other side of the deal. So you find deals and I find investors. And like, I guess people kind of miss the opportunity that there's all these other professionals that are working around us, whether they're our coworkers, our boss, our owners, or they're customers that we serve, or relationships or partnerships with other companies. A lot of high level executives are just like us, high level product managers, technical folks. I was in tech for 13 years. I worked at Rackspace. I worked with a lot of CIOs, a lot of CTOs. I worked with a lot of executive folks, directors, IT directors, developers, coders, da 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 da. And I didn't do a good job of like truly networking for investor types and to try to figure out who needed help. The people that reach out to me today are like, they've reached out to me today. Hey, I saw you and I'm trying to get in touch with you and I'm trying to do that, as opposed to me saying, hey, we've had a great relationship over the past 3 years. And I know we talked about investing and how you're going to go on to build your financial future. I don't have those conversations because I didn't capitalize on 13 years of tech in there, which I think anybody should, wherever profession they're in. Ask someone, take a little interest in their financial journey and how they're planning to get there. Be a good listener and ask them what their plans are. Eventually they're going to ask you what your plans are, and you can share them. You can share with them what you're doing, and you can jot it down in an Excel, name in an email, phone number, your friend, and let them know next time there's a deal that I'm investing in, do you want me to let you know? And that's it. And what happens is this builds a list over time. And that's exactly when I was really intentional about it. Was my last year in tech. I go, okay, let me put this on paper. Let me jot it down. Let me figure out who wants to learn about it. And we raised, millions of dollars from people that were close to us, around us, and say, hey, I asked you about your financial freedom. Remember, I showed you this apartment complex deal that I invested in? They're like, yeah, you want to see the next one? Because this is what we're going to do. They're like, yeah, send it to me. And we sent it, and they said, I want to get into. And it was not like, this was raising capital. This was raising millions of dollars. It's just you do it again and again and again and again and again. And what happens is, like, when you talk about this, Kristen, you get excited anyways. Your face lights up, you smile. You're like, man, I'm so excited about this financial freedom and this is how I'm investing in yada, yada, yada. People see it and they're like, oh, you're genuine about it. I want to have that same happiness. I want to have the same goal and dream. I want to do the same thing. How do I get in? How do I do that? And that's it. So I think this is a super undervalued portion in the tech. In professional world, me specifically in tech, you're in tech too, but it's just something we can all do. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, super helpful. And I think there's this, I don't know, sometimes awkwardness of like, how do I bring this thing that's completely outside of my, normal professional realm, like into that? How do I even broach these conversations with people? Because, people don't normally have conversations about like, hey, what's going on with your financial life? Or, hey, do you not want to like work forever? So I think sometimes it's like, how do we even start having those conversations? But you're right. Like, there are people that you just connect with at work or, in your professional realm, whatever it is. Like, you talk about all kinds of stuff that have nothing to do with your professional day-to-day job, right? Your kids, your family, your vacation plans. Why can't we talk about these things as well?
There are, here's something on faith, right? Because I'm a believer, I'm a Christian. 5 Talents Commercial Real Estate is actually Matthew 25:14 through 30. It's a parable of 5 talents, doubling money and resources, right? So I was taught earlier when I was younger that if you want to share your faith with somebody, you don't share the Bible and you don't share scripture and you don't share that. You just don't beat somebody over the head with the Bible because it just won't set in. So I think it was a pastor, a friend of mine anyways, they're like, you need to be like, so, whether it's positive, enthusiastic, whoever you are, this is me, positive, enthusiastic, motivating, all that, you're just kind of excited. When people ask you, why are you this way? I share with them, I go, man, because I'm saved. In the end run, it's eternity. I'm like, man, I'm so happy that the Lord gave me some happiness. I'm like, it's like bubbling over. I got to spill it. I don't share that usually. I think it's important here. I wanted to share, but I usually don't until somebody asks me, and then I'll share it. I think of the same for investing side of it. I ask a ton of questions and I take sincere interest in people, a genuine interest in other people. There's a book called Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It is amazing. If you haven't read it, you need to get it. It's just on point. And all it is just taking a genuine interest in someone else. The genuine is the key word. Like, tell me about you. What's going on? Who are you? Hey, oh, that's cool. And once you start to learn more about them and you have a good relationship, you're like, hey, is your plan to work here forever? What's your end run? How are you like ending up, wanting to retire? It's not because I want to have them as I see them as an investor in that moment. It's just genuine. Like, man, what are you doing? Because on my faith journey, it's like, hey, are you headed to the same place I'm headed?
Yeah.
I hope you are. Let me find out a little bit more, because if not, I know who I need to, eventually bring that conversation up, and I'm hoping that they ask me. So I want the same. I don't really say, hey, well, you want to invest in a deal? I want them to ask me, well, how are you doing it? Oh, how are you getting there? Oh, this is how I'm getting there. You want me to share it with you? Yes. Boom.
Right.
And we share it with you.
I love that. Love that example. And I think that's really helpful because it's, you have to put your own needs and wants aside sometimes. And I think there is something really magical that happens when you start just actually being curious about other people and other people's lives and doing things that are not just for your own self-interest. It's weird how it works that actually those things end up, spurring things that help you in your own life anyways.
Right. So 100%.
As soon as it's like, oh, I just wanted to talk to that person, I was really interested. And then it was like, man, look where that led. It led to all these great things.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So,
Well, I appreciate the time so much with you. I know you probably have more questions, but I've got to go. I'm already late to my next one. So I appreciate it so much, Kristen. Thank you very much for sharing some time, your story, time to ask a few great questions. And I look forward to staying within your network and working together and see if I can help you in the future. Any last, parting words, anything that you wanted to drop and we just didn't get to talk to, and, last insights for anybody that's watching and listening?
no, well, thank you for having me. Thanks for just responding. And all I would say is for anyone who's in this place where you're like, I don't understand half of what was just talked about, but I'm really interested in learning more. I am always happy to talk about anything. You can find me on LinkedIn, Kristen Tejada, Seattle, product manager. You'll find me there. I'm happy to have a conversation with anyone, but I would just say, just keep learning, keep listening. And like you said, Abel, just start taking some actions. You'll be surprised where it leads you. So thanks so much for having me on and taking the time. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Great show. Boom. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, this is Abel Pacheco, your host for the 5 Talents Podcast. Keep subscribing, liking, reviewing, all the ratings. We appreciate it. And let's go connect. Reach out to me if you're interested in that fund and a 506C accredited investor. We've got it open right now. We're grinding. Talk to you soon. Thanks a lot, Kristen.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the 5 Talents Podcast with your host, myself, Abel Pacheco. Each week, we're going to bring you interviews from industry experts and commercial real estate investors who follow their dreams and achieve massive success. Before you leave, let me ask you a few questions. Did you enjoy this episode? Did you learn something valuable? Was your mind stretched to what's possible and what you can achieve? Do you want other experts just like the one you heard today? If you answered yes to any or all of those questions, then please take a moment to subscribe to the 5 Talents Podcast, give us a 5-star rating, and most importantly, leave us a written review. Tell us what you liked, tell us your favorite guest, give us any feedback. I'm excited to learn and improve so you can get a more valuable show. So thank you again for subscribing to the 5 Talents Podcast.